I provided Alex, CEO of Deel, with a lot of Rippling confidential information, including Rippling's product roadmap, which indicated where Rippling was currently providing services and where it sought to expand. I also passed on the Deel quote battle card, a document that instructed Rippling's Salesforce on what arguments to make to potential customers about the superiority of Rippling's products over Deel's. I also provided Alex with many of Rippling's sales leads. Jason, in terms of like the crown jewels, right? If you're a reporter, the crown jewels is getting someone's income statement, right? But if you're a competing SaaS provider, this is what you want.
This Week in Startups is brought to you by Kyte. Looking to get out of the city? Rent a car with Kyte. Kyte delivers rental cars to your door. No counter, no lines, no hassle. Download the Kyte app today and use code JASON to save 10% on your first rental. Atlassian. From MVP to IPO, Atlassian for Startups provides your team the right tools to plan, track, and collaborate on work. Head to Atlassian.com/startup/twist to see if you qualify for 50 free seats for 12 months. And Lemon.io. Get access to Lemon Hire, a platform with more than 80,000 pre-vetted engineers that you can interview within 48 hours. Get $2,000 off your first hire at lemon.io/hire today.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to This Week in Startups. I'm Jason Calacanis. We do the show 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We do it live. When you watch the live stream with Alex and I, you get to get about, 20, 30 minutes more content, a little bit of bantering as we record the show, and then those live feeds go away. We will be adding images onto the live feed of our sponsors for the day's program. So team, let's make sure we do that. You can follow along on the docket, thisweekinstartups.com/docket. If you go there, you'll watch Alex, Lon, and the team build out the docket, the stories we're going to talk about, and you can post comments there. And it's just a fun way to go along the show. In the show notes, we're doing really great show notes. We're doing chapters, I hope, in the for the podcast now. We're just trying to get our podcast game, just really chef's kiss, if you will.
Doing quite a lot of work on it. Of course, feedback's always welcome. So alexw@launch.co if you have notes about things we can improve. But yeah, you can always drop comments in the docket. I see and read every single comment people drop in. So if you want to reach me directly, please do so. Context, things we've missed, things, stories we might want to take a look at. We are always listening to everyone out there who's part of the, Jason, Twist gang, maybe.
Yeah, the whole group. And we also are hiring. We're hiring... if you're interested in being the venture business, we are hiring in Austin. That's the starting point. If you're out of school, maybe a couple years experience, or you're looking to do a career change, basically what does a researcher do? They research topics for Launch, our venture firm, which produces 2 programs, Founding University, the Launch Accelerator, and of course we do This Week in Startups. The researchers are just the critical role. They meet and sort through 20,000 applications for funding a year. We meet with probably 20% of those, about 4,000 of them, 5,000 of them. We put them into our database. We track those companies, the ones with the best teams, and maybe the best execution as we see it. Just a great way for you if you wanted to break in. And we're also hiring. We're hiring another video editor here. We need somebody who is good at shorts. We're trying to figure out shorts, but I'll be honest, we've never gotten it right. We're kind of boomers. Producer Nick, who went over to All In, was great at shorts, but I don't have him anymore. I think I need a TikTok native. So if you're a TikTok native, go ahead and pull up that link if somebody can. Let me put it over here.
I got you.
Oh, you got it? Okay. Pull up the link. It's a job description on LinkedIn. You can go find it if you follow the Launch account there. And this would be in the office with me, Lon, Chris, and the team. We have our just podcast producer, editor, entry-level job. But if you have more experience, it could go up from there. So if you're an entry level and you're just doing TikTok on your own, great. If you want to, if you got a couple years experience, that's okay too. We just need somebody who's native. That's what we're doing, TikTok shorts here and YouTube shorts. We're trying to figure it out. Okay.
All right.
Big docket today. Let's get to work.
Things not to do. You should go out and learn things. You should teach yourself new skills. But if anyone ever offers to pay you, Jason, a couple of $1,000s a month to learn how to be a spy, say no. So the news is that we have new information about the Rippling Deel suit. As everyone I'm sure recalls, Rippling and Deel are both Jason outsourced HR providers. They'll help you make sure your employees are paid both in your home country and abroad. They're both large, they're both unicorns, they're both well known. So when Rippling said that Deel had put a spy essentially inside of its operations to exfiltrate information, it was a pretty big darn deal. Things died down for a bit. We waited for more information, and now we have it. The spy, the mole, has essentially come clean and put together a large, almost confessional that we
got pinched.
Well, he definitely got pinched, but he was still considering. We'll get into the why he decided to come clean towards the end here, but I want to walk people through what we've learned today, Jason, if that's okay.
Yes, we should totally do this because corporate espionage is incredibly entertaining. 2 high-growth companies in a spat, both of which apparently now have, let's call it sharp-elbowed founders, right? Parker Conrad had an SEC violation against him. I'm kind of like on the periphery of it because I like Parker Conrad. I think he's like a cool founder. And he's like a super aggressive founder who made a couple of mistakes, got an SEC claim against him. Whatever, it happens. I'm not condoning it, but I'm also not saying young people who make mistakes should, he didn't murder anybody. Let's leave it at that. But Parker Conrad, pretty aggressive founder with SEC violation, is now up against the Deel founder.
Yep.
Who hired a literal Rippling employee to spy on the company and has been caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
Yes.
They're both, I think, YC companies. And this also speaks to a larger Silicon Valley and specifically Y Combinator rule-breaking ethos. So
Rippling was the Winter 17 cohort, and Deel was the Winter 19 cohort. So a little bit ago, but both companies went through YC, well-known founders, and I'm going to show some screenshots.
Before we do that, I also just want to put out a disclaimer. I have exposure to both companies through venture funds I'm in, and I think one of our companies, I won't say which, was acquired by one of the companies. I don't want to get, just create this, but we invest in 450 companies. Sometimes we've invested in 450 companies over 12 years. Sometimes a company gets acquired, we wind up with some shares. None of it is enough for me to have a horse in the race. None of it is. It's all de minimis in terms of its impact on me. It wouldn't affect my coverage of this, but as we say in the business, no conflict, no interest. I'm an investor in 450 companies, and I'm an investor in 20 venture capital firms. Some of them are higher profile than others, and you would know them, and there you have it. Okay, so let's get to this case, because in Ireland, the person confessed in an Ireland court for some reason. I don't understand.
Because they were out of the Irish Rippling office, if memory serves. So this was a person based in Europe. So I want to start with how much money this person was paid. So Jason, here is 2 kind of combined screenshots from the release. And I'm going to go ahead and sportscast a bit here for folks who are on the audio version.
When you say release, this is a news story. This is a deposition. This is a court document.
Court filing from the High Court of Ireland.
Okay.
But it's from the voice of the alleged spy. So he's talking.
Thank you for adding alleged.
Oh, yeah. Well,
is it alleged if he confessed?
I think it's alleged until someone is convicted, because I would like to avoid extraneous legal risk.
What about admitted spy?
Self-admitted spy, alleged corporate mole.
Alleged spy? Okay, go.
All right, so he says, Alex and Philippe, the founder and his father, who was also the CFO, said that I would be paid approximately 5,000 euros per month for spying on Rippling for Deel, and that I would be paid around the 6th of the month. They established payment terminology. So when he wanted to get paid, he would, quote, send a picture of a watch to the payment chat, and Philippe would say, send that watch to London. Then he would say, the buyer is happy. I understood this to mean that Alex, the buyer of Rippling's confidential information, was happy with my services and the information I sent. Jason, as far as code speak goes, that sucks, but at least they were trying to obfuscate a little bit, I guess.
I mean, I don't want to critique Spycraft, but here we are. Why not send or hand the person, a thumb drive with Tether on it? Like, if you're going to pick a way to pay somebody, pick the one that human traffickers, money launderers, and terrorists allegedly prefer. Allegedly preferred by human traffickers and terrorists everywhere. Tether. So they should have just been giving this kid Tether on a thumb drive, or dropping a thumb drive to, based on my spy novel and knowledge. They should have been putting Tether on a thumb drive into a Dropbox. If you travel a lot, you got to deal with renting cars. It's just a fact. It can be slow, confusing, and most of the time, the experience is stuck in the past. It takes an hour to rent a car, 2 hours to rent a car. And I recently became aware of a really cool startup called Kyte, Kyte. With Kyte, instead of going to a dingy desk tucked into the bowels of some airport parking garage, a car is delivered right to you. That means you can get a new, professionally maintained car brought to your door without dealing with the lines. And I use this. Many of you know I moved to Texas. I'm in Austin. And I was in the Bay Area. I was going to be doing a lot of meetings. I was going to be traveling around. I needed a car. All my cars are in Austin now. So I popped out the Kyte app. Bing, bing, bing. I had my car waiting for me at SFO, and I avoid waiting around, and I had my own car, so I could go to all these disparate meetings I had across the Bay Area. You can manage your entire trip in Kyte's app, meaning you can avoid waiting around while someone else enters your data into a computer by hand. One slow keystroke at a time. It's like that scene from the movie with the sloth at the DMV. Anyway, Kyte doesn't do extra fees. It operates in large cities around the United States, and I've used it in both LA and San Francisco and love it. Here's your call to action. Download the Kyte app or book online at kyte.com. That's kyte.com. Go ahead and download the app now so you have it ready to go. Use the code Jason at checkout. You get 10% off your first rental, which could be significant. Don't forget to use the code Jason. Download the app, kyte.com right now. So here's the next quote. What is this?
This is what was actually taken. So the spy
Let's
continues.
read the quote here, yeah.
I provided Alex, CEO of Deel, with a lot of Rippling confidential information, including Rippling's product roadmap, which indicated where Rippling was currently providing services and where it sought to expand. I also passed on the Deel quote battle card, a document that instructed Rippling's Salesforce on what arguments to make to potential customers about the superiority of Rippling's products over Deel's. I also provided Alex with many of Rippling's sales leads. Jason, in terms of like the crown jewels, right? If you're a reporter, the crown jewels is getting someone's income statement, right? But if you're a competing SaaS provider, this is what you want.
The product roadmap is extremely damaging if it was accurate. Some of it might be obvious, but it would give you the ability to front-run announcements. And then it would give you the ability to say to investors or to your team or to your customers, in other words, your constituents, look, we release these free features. Rippling is just the fast follower. They copy us.
Right.
So you could really damage Parker's reputation and Rippling's reputation in this case by making them look like a fast follower when in fact you're, if this is all true, and I can't imagine that this is, to fabricate this would probably be a bigger crime than actually doing the crime, right? Like if you were to say this about Deel and it wasn't true, this person would be in massive slanderous trouble.
It's either truth or the biggest defamation case in the history of mankind. So yes.
Okay, great. So here we go.
All right. So keep in mind that we heard about a honeypot trap that they set up, Jason.
Yes.
As
brilliant.
it turns out, there's a little bit of commentary on that in the notes that we got. And essentially, yes, Alex did ask him to pull that up. And then he did. And then he said, wait, don't do it. It's a trap. And he already had. After he got caught, there was an amazing bit of drama in which the spy was essentially accosted at the office. So we have that quote about what he did when he got pinched, as Jason said earlier. So on Friday, March 14th, 2025, by the way, that's like 2.5 weeks ago, I went into the Rippling office, believing that I was there to pick up a compliance award from one of my coworkers. An independent solicitor served me with a court order requiring inspection of devices. He lies and says his phone's upstairs. They go up, gets his bag, comes back downstairs. Once we got back upstairs, after retrieving my bag, it started to sink in just how serious this was. I panicked. I went to the bathroom with my phone and performed a factory reset on it, erasing all of its contents, including apps and contacts. I flushed the toilet a couple of times. When I came out, I just wanted to get out of there, started to walk out, was told and warned that I shouldn't do that. And then I said, I'll take that risk and left. This matches what Deel alleged in the original suit down to a T. But the wrinkle here is that Deel thought he might have tried to, Rippling thought he might have tried to flush his phone. Turns out he was just making some noise to have him pass the time in the bathroom. But I do love that they had to search the pipes by accident because they did. Again, I'm not a Spycraft expert here, Jason, but this...
I I am a Spycraft expert. People don't know this, but I did spend some time in a couple of agencies. My time is over now, so I can talk a little bit about my time in the Mossad, CIA, and some other three-letter organizations. This is just very low-grade Spycraft. If you're going to do Spycraft, you got to do it at a higher level, folks. You got to watch Day of the Jackal. You got to just check out what Mossad is doing, KGB is doing. There's much better corporate espionage techniques. This is just Bush League. It's an embarrassment. Disgraziad for being a spy, but disgraziad.com at an even higher level for not being a great spy. If you're going to be a spy, I talked about this at the top of the show. You should aspire to be an elite spy, be top 1%, top 10%. This is bottom 10%.
This is bottom decile. This is negative IRR venture returns level crap. I'm going to add one more little quote just before we scoot on. Asif, Deel's in-house lawyer, said he was speaking in a, quote, personal capacity and that Rippling, quote, have nothing. They suggested flying my family and me, to Dubai that night, saying we, quote, all need a holiday. So they wanted to...
A holiday. I think it means a place without extradition. That is a nice place to live. So I guess we have to ask what happens now, and then maybe talk a little bit about corporate intelligence versus corporate espionage. One is okay. One is not okay. But go ahead. You have something you want to add?
I was going to prognosticate what I think happens, but then I realized that you're actually going in a different direction. So I'm going to hand the baton back to you.
Oh, okay. So what happens next? Is this criminal? This is criminal. So where's the criminal case? It must be being built by the FBI and the Department of Justice right now. This is happening in Ireland. There's been a confession. This is a legal document. So we have to get, I looked online for this and I couldn't find it. This is moving very quickly in the last 2 weeks, but I don't think a criminal complaint has been filed yet. So I'm wondering.
There's a suit between Rippling and Deel about this.
That's a private civil suit.
Oh, you're referring to, is there a federal
criminal corporate espionage stealing like Waymo versus Uber? Or Alphabet versus Uber. That was a criminal case when Lewandowski was pinched.
So I was thinking more in terms of startup and blowback versus criminal investigations.
Well, the startup blowback is going to be he's going to lose his job. The reason he's still in his job and these people are still in their jobs is they don't want to admit guilt by leaving or resigning. So the board needs time to process this, collect the facts. That's why you don't see things happen immediately. This isn't like he murdered somebody. Right. These are allegations, so we keep that in mind. It could be possible. It's not probable that this confession is a CYA by this person and, it's all a big misunderstanding or something. They hired him as an information consultant. I'm just putting out what the logical defense here would be is we used an expert network. I get offered to be part of expert networks all the time. They pay $5,000 an hour for an expert network. What an expert network does is they obscurify who you're talking to, and they say, you're talking to somebody who's in the smartphone business.
That's great.
Then you, as somebody working at Apple or HTC or Xiaomi or Google, can talk to 5 experts in the industry. Now, they might tell you the person hails from Asia or North America or Europe, and they're a senior executive, and then you talk to them, you pay $5,000 to the agency, and that person gets paid $5,000. These expert networks, if you look them up, have been pinched or, they're a gray area of corporate intelligence. So there's corporate intelligence and there's expert networks. So I was going to bring this piece up because this is where the gray is in our industry. This, if the allegations are true and the confession is true, this is like criminal, straight up criminal. And that means everybody loses their job. Some people go to jail. Some people get suspended sentences. It will be out of Deel and Rippling's hands if it becomes a criminal case. There's no settlement that occurs. The government decides, here's a CEO who's a billionaire. Here's their lawyer who's, got a $50 million worth of stock. Chef's kiss. This is a Martha Stewart-like pelt. All right. If you're shipping a product or rolling out an update, you're building a company, you need to be organized, right? We know that. Atlassian has exactly what you need to streamline your work and smash your goals. And the Atlassian for Startups program is packed packed with all the tools you need, like Jira, where you can track every task, sprint, and bug. That's the industry standard. Confluence, another industry standard for team collaboration and documentation. And of course, Loom for quick video explainer creation. Now, Loom is really brilliant. My team started using Loom on their own. They started paying for it on their own. Why? They wanted to get credit on the investment team for communicating to me, the general partner of the firm, why they wanted to invest in a company. So they would do a Loom where they recorded over a recording of an interview they did with a founder or visiting their website and going through why they want to invest in a company. And this was so great for me. I would be skiing in Japan. I would be on a flight to New York to see my parents. And all of a sudden I get a notification from one of my team members, hey, watch this Loom. And I get the link for the Loom. I click it, and then I can put comments at any time. So it's like doing a conference call, but on my time, asynchronously, and I can communicate right there on the video. Also included in Atlassian for Startups is Compass, Jira Product Discovery, Bitbucket, so much more, all powered by Atlassian Intelligence. That's their built-in AI. Atlassian software helps companies like Canva, Cloudflare, and Rivian keep growing and keep innovating. Whether you're brainstorming on sticky notes or scaling to the big leads, Atlassian is here to accelerate your startup's growth. Check out Atlassian for Startups, where eligible startups get up to 50 seats for free for 1 full year. That is absurdly generous. Why can they be so generous at Atlassian? Because they're the standard. Atlassian is the standard, and they are generous to startups because they were once a startup. I remember meeting them 20 years ago in Australia. What a great company. Head to Atlassian.com/startups/twist for complete details. They love getting FTX. They love getting SBF. They love Theranos. They love a billionaire pelt because, there's so many kids in jail for selling weed or fentanyl or whatever. And they get 10 years. And then everybody questions, hey, what about the white collar criminal?
I'm just really curious about how the board handles this from a purely selfish perspective. Failure of governance, failure to, be the adults in the room. Can boards catch this sort of thing, or is this below their line?
Nope. When you're on the board, you're meeting 4 times a year. You might have phone calls or text messages, chats, emails in between those. And you're looking at the top level information. A CEO can do all kinds of things. They can absolutely pay their cousin in an LLC to be a consultant, and it's buried in the marketing budget, and you have no insight into it, and you're screwed as a board member. And then that's why whistleblowers exist. And that's why whistleblower protections exist. That's why lawsuits and drive-by lawyers exist. Because if something went awry at the Christmas party and somebody, streaked at the Christmas party across the front lawn of Theranos, somebody's going to report it to HR, or somebody's going to email a board member, or they're going to email whistleblower@deel.com, right? And there are whistleblower protections in place for this reason. And this is why boards should have some independence to them. So I wouldn't blame the board here. They did not know this. There's no way they could have known this. If they did know it, they would have resigned, and they had a lot at stake. So
they had so much at stake. Yes, because this is a really successful company. This
is the equivalent of somebody's Robinhood, Calm, or Uber for me, or for Chamath, his Slack, right? When something like this happens and you've got a big stake in it, you're like, you know what? My LP stake in this, my personal stake in this, the employee stake in this, the company's employees' jobs, the customers, they're more important than a CEO who is behaving badly. We've seen this happen when Steve Jobs got ousted, when Uber's founder got ousted. These things do happen, and you see a board take action very quickly. And in those cases, those weren't even criminal things. They were gray, or Steve Jobs wouldn't listen to anybody, or, Travis was aggressive in interpreting the rules, ride sharing, whatever. They will all be out of the company in a couple of weeks. The board will announce an interim CEO, or a board member will take over as interim CEO. The stock will take a 50% hit and then recover.
Now, one last note about this before we move on to our guest, Jason. You're right. This company will survive. It will.
Yes.
But that makes this
and it deserves to survive, I would say.
Yeah, but that makes the stumble here, the ridiculousness, the bad behavior, the poor choices, just all the more ridiculous. It's not like there was a founder who was about to like not make payroll and got a little spicy with things. It was like, here's a successful company just being a jerk.
This is a YC specific thing. There is a punk rock rule breaking culture at YC. They like rule breakers. In fact, they index for rule breakers. They ask people, I think, in their application if there are things they've hacked, etc. And so you like a rule breaker. You like somebody who hacks systems. Paul Graham always had an affinity for that. That's why he picked Sam Altman to run it. He liked Sam Altman, maybe doing, on the margins, some things that other people would be more thoughtful about. I'm just trying to be charitable because I like Sam. And then when Sam was going to be ousted from OpenAI, people said, oh, it's because of his double dealing. So here it is. Naughtiness is the way he framed it. Paul Graham. Though the most successful founders are usually good people, they tend to have a piratical gleam in their eye. They're not goody two-shoe type good. Morally, they care about getting the big questions right, but not about observing proprieties. That's why I used to use the word naughty rather than evil. They delight in breaking rules, but not rules that matter. This quality may be redundant, though. It may be implied by imagination. Sam Altman of Looped is one of the most successful alumni, so we asked him what questions we could put on the Y Combinator application that would help us discover more people like him. He said to ask about a time when they'd hacked something to their advantage, hacked in the sense of beating the system, not breaking into computers. So this is the kind of thing where you want people who are on the margins, willing to do things like this. And then people interpret that and they take it too far. Parker Conrad took it too far by creating, quote unquote, the script, getting the SEC violation against him. That's the culture of Silicon Valley. It is what it is. Do I disagree with it? No, I don't. I'll be honest. I like a rule breaker myself. I don't like criminal behavior. And that's the fine art here, is understanding when you're bending rules and when you're breaking rules. If you bend a rule and it's like in everybody's best interest, an example of that would be Airbnb. You're bending a rule, but who benefits? People who can't afford hotel rooms, bottom third of society get to go on a vacation that they couldn't previously do. And the hosts get to make money and pay their mortgage. You're doing it for the benefit of those two sides of the marketplace. Where you're doing wrong, this is the test for founders, is who benefits. What's the Latin word for that?
It's qui bono, yeah.
Qui bono. Who benefits? In this case, the Deel CEO benefits.
Yeah.
Who loses? Everybody else.
Yeah.
The only person benefiting here is the Deel founder. And when you do qui bono on Parker Conrad's transgression, who benefited? He did. The company did. Did the people buying insurance from, what was the company? I almost said Rippling. Zenefits, thank you. Zenefits benefited. Wow. And so did the company. That's why the SEC came down on it. So here's your filter. Who benefits? Let's talk to our Rabbit, our friend from Rabbit. He was on the program, I don't know, was it 2 Januaries ago or maybe 18 months ago when he was the belle of the ball at CES?
Belle of the ball. Yes, we're going to have Jesse from Rabbit back on the show. Everyone recalls that the Rabbit R1 device landed with a nuclear shock. Everyone was stoked about this device. Reviews were a little bit wonky, but the company has been hard at work improving both the software and also its digital services. So please welcome back to the show. It's Jesse Lyu. Jesse!
Founders, let's be real. Let's keep it a buck. Finding great developers is hard. It's like one of the hardest things you have to do in our industry, especially when you're trying to run and scale your startup. But here's the good news. I got a tip that's going to save you time, money, and a ton of headaches. You need to check out Lemon.io. Lemon.io has thousands of on-demand developers who can help you. They have done all the work to find and vet great developers who are experienced, who are results-oriented, and who charge competitive rate. Great developers we know are hard to find and integrate into your team, so Lemon.io will handle all of that for you. They're only going to offer you hand-picked developers with at least 3 years of experience. And if something goes wrong, Lemon.io will find you a replacement developer ASAP. a bunch of launch founders have worked with lemon.io and they have told me they've had a great experience. So here's your call to action. Go to lemon.io/twist and find your perfect developer or an entire tech team in 48 hours or less. And Twist listeners get 15% off the first 4 weeks. So stop burning money, hire developers smarter. Visit lemon.io/twist. Did you go to YC, Jesse? Are you a rule breaker?
Actually, I was in YC Winter 15 batch all the way back in 2014, 2015. So that was a long time
Who was
ago.
running? Was it Paul Graham or Sam?
It was a last year. I think it was the first year Paul left. It was the first year Sam
Got it.
Was running. And with Jessica, Gary Tan, Justin Kan, bunch of like amazing folks. Michael Seaball, a lot of...
Was it a rule-breaking culture, as I was just discussing, break the rules, bend the rules, hacking culture at that time? Was it something they emphasized, or was it just like an undercurrent?
No, it was like super obvious. It was super cool. I think, one interesting first lesson I learned, I still remember today, is that the first lesson they told you is that 99% of startup will die. And I think a lot of the young founders, when they first go to the YC, I was back then 22, 23. I was under impression, be like, okay, I have so much ambition, I can build this and that. And they're like, if your product doesn't work in the first 2 weeks, you'll die. So that's like, a very different culture than if you just build by yourself. And I still remember it was a really, really good period of time where we have this office hours, but I still remember office hours for us, I just went to Michael Seabell's house. And he was just cooking and he was just making coffees for us. And we were just sitting on his counter and, talking about the project progress. And obviously, see Sam and other people running back and forth. And it was like very intense, I would say 2-3 weeks of preparing for that, the final showcase, the final pitch, which I believe each company got like 2-3 minutes. Really, just
it's very short.
It was very, very short. But you got to learn a lot of like other ideas other people are building, and it was super normal. You have probably like I would say 20% of people they completely pivoted by the time they graduate,
Right.
which is
Awesome.
good. It was a good time. Yeah.
So you launched the Rabbit. We'll pull up a picture of it here. It got a lot of attention because you hit it perfectly timing-wise. Everybody was really enamored by LLMs, and everybody loves hardware, and everybody loves new hardware. At the time you launched, you had the humane pin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Humane pin. You had these 2 pendant companies that were going to do AI pendants. And you generally had a belief in the world that AI plus device, newfangled device, would be an incredible opportunity. You had Sam Altman supposedly doing a new phone with Johnny Ive or a new device and raising money for it. And like all technological hype cycles, people get hyped up on it, and then people get disillusioned and they go to the trough of despair. And then after that, people come out and they rise again. And you can look at that. Alex will pull up that trough of despair and the that whole chart. I'm sure you're aware of it, the hype cycle chart kind of thing. Are we in the trough of despair, and how are you getting through that? And let's talk about your progress and what it's like as a founder to go through the hype cycle.
So first of all, I think, again, we met a year ago, which it was just by the time we're just about to ship. The luxury for our team is that we did hardware before. I think, first of all, if you ever done any hardware project, you would completely agree to that chart. And the timing is very interesting because the core reason for us that we decided to build this little orange box is not that we don't like our phone. Is that we know this technology is just very disruptive, very new, and there's a lot of things needs to be changed, right? So that was quite a different angle than, I just want to build a new phone or I just want to build a new glass. So I guess for us, it's always that reason that we decided to have this little device to be able to run whatever the latest technology that we can put into. We didn't even hype about ourselves in the beginning. If you remember, like we were not officially in the CES. We recorded my introduction keynote in a hotel like lobby or like a meeting room.
You hacked CES. You were punk rocking it. You were an official presenter, and all of a sudden, you win the product of CES, or you get on a lot of lists as the best product, which I don't think you anticipated, and you hit the timing right. And then your phone rings off the hook, I suppose, investors, partners, etc. And then it dies down. Humane shuts down. We don't hear about these pendants anymore. The Apple Vision Pro had come out in a similar time. That got hyped up. Nobody's talking about that anymore. So let's talk about your conviction for your idea. Take me through emotionally how you as a founder, smooth out the chart we just saw, which is the hype, the trial of disillusionment, and then here we go. You've got to just grind it out. Right. So did that affect you emotionally to have everybody want to take a meeting and then everybody disappears?
No, I mean, again, I would consider myself as a veteran. This is not my first time building a company. I've gone through this in my early 20s, and it's just one more time. So I'm mentally fully prepared for this. But obviously, I wasn't expecting the hype building up with all this AI product and AI hardware can be that big. So I think we all learned how to become, quote unquote celebrity. I told my team and myself, what we really should do is just go there and fix things, because when people talk about it, that means they care about it, right? They want the product to work in their imaginary way. Well, it will be like huge gap between how the AI is ready right now versus how human wish the AI will be. But, as a company, we're super focused on just, fixing out a lot of the things. In fact, I would love to mention in this podcast that I just did a count. We shipped more than 30 OTAs.
Jesse, I want to pick up there. I want to show people this RabbitOS Intern thing you guys launched today, because I feel like it's newsy, so we should at least give it some shrift here. So for folks out there who are curious, this is what it looks like. And Jesse, the first thing that I noticed was, I've seen this before. This reminds me of things that I've seen from OpenAI and I don't know, Google and other people. So I'm curious what the goal here is for Rabbit. Is this a way for you guys to refine your agentic technology, or is this also an attempt to kind of bully your way into a burgeoning market, which is, consumer AI agents?
Do you mind if I share my screen? Because
go for it.
I've run some interesting cases. So here we are. To better understand why we built this tool is that, it fits in line with our mission. Our mission is we're trying to build cross-platform general agents. That means that we want agents that not only can operate on website, but also can operate directly on apps. And obviously, if you're talking about apps, there's computer apps, there's phone apps, there's a lot of different destinations. What we observed from the capability of all these models fastly growing since last year is that all these models are quickly getting better at reasoning, planning, as well as code level execution. So if you link all these three things together, that makes all these use cases become a reality. So I can show you my prompt that I just ran. Literally, I started running this before I joined this Zoom because I was in the meeting room for 20 minutes. So I just, run this. I said, I'll be on Jason's Suzuki Startups to talk about newly released RabbitOS Intern agent. Help me create a comprehensive media prep book and make into an interactive HTML web app. So to use an intern, you really think about this has a similar capability of a human intern level. You're not expecting, set the expectation right. You're not expecting this to be the chief scientist, right? Or a superstar engineer that get paid $1 million per year. So this is an intern, human intern level. But what's amazing about this is that this is an intern for every domain. It's not just an intern for coding. It's not just an intern for real estate research. It's an intern for every single possible domain you can think of. To use with this, you just need to use language. But what's more beyond tools like OpenAI and ChatGPT and Gemini and Perplexity for now is that it's directly end-to-end consumer facing. So if you want this to work on a website, it will actually give you a website. If you want to generate a PowerPoint, it will generate a PowerPoint. So for example, I really love OpenAI and Google and Perplexity. I was trying the same prompt on all these 3 different platforms. So what I did is I also included media.txt, which is just basically information from our current media outreach, right? So I copy and paste this, put into TXT, and this is the OpenAI GPT-4o. So I said exact the same prompt, and this is an OpenAI GPT-4o actually did pretty good. It actually generates a website. But let's take a look of what's the contents here. So that's basically the HTML code that's generated by OpenAI. And it has, some basic information. I would assume most of these are just directly pulled from the TXT. I tried on a Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is their latest stuff. It has this, markdown summary, which is really nice. And it says, regarding to your request on interactive HTML web app, I cannot directly create web applications. I tried this on Perplexity. It gives this sample HTML code. And when I open it up, it's basically a template. Now, here's an interesting back in what's happening with all these agents. So I'll better explain this. So what's happening here is that if you type this prompt, the RabbitOS intern will have a master agent, as if the virtual CEO says, hey, guys, come together, let's build this task. And this master agent will basically create a whole action plan for the remaining agent. And then you can see the tasks that start spinning up. And it basically is a bunch of coordinating agent following the master plan. So this agency is doing this, and that agency is doing that. And all these tasks got automatically assigned to a different agent. And you can see, you can click on the sidebar to see like what's happening on the back end, right? So basically, all these agents are doing things together. Some of the agents doing research, some of the agents start building the website, and it goes on and on. This entire task took us 18 minutes to finish, which is not too bad. But now you got all this, generated files. You can download as a zip. But here's the thing. Let's go back to see, to have a refresh. This is the OpenAI ChatGPT 4o. This is the website. This is what we have.
Got it. So you're actually publishing, and if you had a hosting company, you could probably publish it actually live to the web.
Yep. That part is straightforward, but I want to emphasize on the context, right? So if you think about my prompt was I'm asking, hey, I'm going to join this podcast. I want a media preparation handbook. So exclusive summary. Everything is super relevant. It even built this section by itself, says, hey, checklist, make sure you get all this prepared before you join the call. And you have this audience analysis. This is basically agent search on your this week's startup, audience demographics, host style and format. And it even says, hey, you're like direct, everything is super relevant.
Skeptical toward overhyped claims, preference for concrete examples over theoretical discussions. This is all true. I wonder how it got that.
Well, it just pulled the information from the existing internet and all the public data. This also. I
wonder if somebody has a web page where they described my interviewing style or something. Well, we'd love to see the citation for that. This is great.
So you also get this, Q&A session, media training tips. You can really see the intern actually understand and execute it, in a human format. And then product overview, give me some notes, just in case you guys ask about our stuff, I can reference this. Even has a quiz. I didn't ask for a quiz. It even has a quiz, right? So this is, by the way, fully functional. I'm just trying to hit a perfect score here.
Love it.
Okay, so we'll see if there you go. I hit a perfect score. But you really need to understand where we are right now in the whole generation of agent technology. For the record, I think every single product will soon have this kind of capabilities.
Which is an agent happening in real time to do jobs for you. And then the question is, how good are the results and how helpful are they?
Absolutely.
Right? So if you were to ask it to get my interview style and prep you, that's doing as good a job, Alex, as I think a PR person would do, because they would go watch Alex and I talk or interview other people, and they would write it down. It would take them a couple of hours. Here, it found that information somewhere on the web, or maybe it analyzed a couple of clips or something.
Entry-level jobs are going to get automated away, Jason, because Computers can now do the collection and aggregation that we paid people to do.
Yep.
It's just,
Amazing.
that's coming.
And also this system can build something that really, out of expectations. This is obviously a very professional, serious prompt, but I also built this 18-bit sequencer by using one prompt. And it's a fully functional little sequencer. I can get some of the music going.
Amazing.
By just play with it.
Yeah. I think these agents, are really getting close. One of the things I was just working on was trying to figure out, because I'm incubating a company that's going to be estate managers. I think I told you about this, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I noticed when you reach a certain, a certain station in life, in other words, net worth, when you have a second home, estate management, managing multiple homes, like you can manage your home. Then when your home becomes 5, 6, 7,000 square feet, it's too hard to manage.
Yeah.
You need help. So, you have a family assistant or, I don't know, a handy person, a handyman come by, and it just becomes arduous. When you get to a second, third, or fourth property, I have 4 properties, or you're a property manager for Airbnb, let's say, now it becomes hard. Now you need a full-time person.
Yeah.
And then what I realized was the hardest part of the job was vendors. Managing vendors is the hardest part of the job. So now I'm on a little exploratory thing with my estate manager, which is I want to create an fractional estate manager powered by technology. So I had my Athena assistants. I have 2 Athena assistants. Go to athenawow.com to get a couple of weeks free. They give you a great deal at athenawow.com. I'm an investor in the company. I'm a spokesperson for the company. I have the 2 Athena assistants working, I think, 1 hour overlap. So I have a 15-hour window from like 7 to 9 p.m. every day of my time. The Athena assistants are available to me. So I had them. I want to put a solar thing in, where I have solar at the ranch and batteries. Not just like solar on my roof, Tesla Powerwall. I want to put an acre of solar and have enough batteries that I could be sustainably off the grid on the ranch forever. Okay. I had my current estate manager give me her process, share that in a Notion page with the Athena assistants, and I'm watching them do it. And I'm wondering, how long before I can describe this and have an agent make phone calls, research it on the web, call them up, get the quotes, normalize the quotes, feels like next year, right?
Next year, definitely. I was about to say next year. Next year, yeah.
So that's why I'm doing this. I think the Athena assistants, having assistants from Manila who can brute force it, but then studying what they do, then the Athena assistants could be doing this, using Athena assistants will have agents, and it's just going to become like this cascading efficiency to absurdity. So then my thought, Alex, for the startup is, imagine you own a $5 million home.
Sure.
And you have a $3 million vacation home, Manhattan apartment or a Brooklyn townhome.
$3 million doesn't go as far as it used to.
Well, I'm saying a Brooklyn townhouse could be, a brownstone could be $5 million, and then a $5 million Hamptons home. You put the two together, you got $10 million. Instead of hiring a full-time person, which you don't need, you hire essentially a 20th of a person, a 10th of a person for $50,000 a year, 50 basis points of the total value of the 2 homes, whatever. And they just manage everything about that home. The landscaping, the pool cleaning, replacing the pool pump, replacing the HVAC, all that kind of stuff. And I think human plus agents equals success. But obviously no house manager is going to be able to do this. So every category is going to be able to fix these things. It's going to be a really interesting future. Jesse, thanks for coming on. Let's talk again in 6 months. I want to see some more form factors. You're a really great guest.
Absolutely.
Keep grinding. I know you have tons of runway to figure this business out. So I wish you great luck in the trough of despair.
Thank you. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Jason.
Cheers now. As we wrap here on this, there was somebody in the chat room who said they have the R1 and they love it. And they picked it up at a TWA party almost a year ago and they still love it. So that's pretty great.
All right, let's do some Founder Friday pitch-offs. It's time to discuss the bracket, my friends. We are talking about something that we are very excited about, which is showing off cool things from the Founder Friday world. Jason, here is our
Founder Friday, just to explain, founderfriday.tech, 6 founders around a table. They get together every first Friday of the month. You go around the table, by founders, for founders, no looky-loos at the event. You have to be a founder of an active startup. Founder one says what they're working on, what their big win, what their big fail is, what their big challenge is, what their big, win is.
Sure.
You do that for 2 or 3 minutes. You go around the table, 6 people, 3 minutes each, 18 minutes. Then you spend the other 40 minutes. Each person goes around and says, oh, Alex, your big win. I want to hear more about that. Let me ask you a question about how you're acquiring customers using TikTok videos. And then you say to me, yeah, and I want to ask you about your challenge of acquiring customers. I'm wondering if you've done Google search and if you're retargeting. The person says, what's retargeting? You say, here's the tracking pixel. Here's how you do retargeting. Boom. That's the format. So we ask these teams, have your own competition between the 6 people, or maybe have 3 pods of 6. And we're codifying this at Founder Fridays. You can go to founderfriday.tech, great domain names, to create your team. And we're going to do March Madness. We're going to have 8 teams on one side, 8 teams on the other. I'm not sure how we broke them up.
Well, we have, just for folks who are on the audio version, this is done by city. So we have Houston versus Boston, Austin versus Quincy, New York versus Philadelphia, go Birds, Zurich versus Florianopolis. So, Jason, what I'm going to do is play for you 4 clips, 2 competing pairs of companies from this, and then we're going to pick our favorites and we're going to scoot them forward and get this ball rolling. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, excellent. Because too bad if you weren't, we're still going to do it. All right, here's the first one. This is Snipped. Let's hear from Snipped.
Hi, I'm Kevin. I'm the founder and CEO of Snipped. Snipped is an AI-powered podcast app for people who listen to podcasts to become more knowledgeable. For me, podcasts, and for many other people out there, have become the most important source of knowledge. And I usually listen to podcasts while I ride my bike. But the problem is that whenever I hear an amazing insight, it's so difficult to write it down. So what we have done with Snipped is whenever you listen to a podcast on Snipped, and every time you hear an amazing insight, you can just triple tap your headphones, and our AI summarizes the insight that you just heard and saves it together with the original transcript and audio in your knowledge library. You can now review this, you can send it to friends, you can even sync it with your favorite notes app like Notion. But actually, in the meantime, our app does much more. One way of thinking about it is really, we've become the AI native podcast app, similar to how Cursor is the AI native IDE for developers. So our app has AI-generated transcripts, AI-generated chapters. We identify the guest of a podcast, create a little mini bio about them. We identify all of the books that get recommended in a podcast. You can chat with an episode. We even generate small summaries for you so that you can decide whether or not to listen to a podcast. So all of this together basically creates the AI native podcast app experience for people who listen to podcasts to learn and become more knowledgeable. We have users in more than 210 countries and paying users in more than 149 countries. So really looking forward to the next country to get to 150.
Awesome.
So, what do you think about Snipped, Jason?
I know this. I've met the founder. I downloaded the app recently because I'm looking for Podcast 2.0 standard apps that have the live link in them. Shout out to Adam Curry, the podfather. And I'm looking for ones that have the donate button in them. And I've been pushing Spotify to add the donate and the live button. So when we go live, we should be able, in our RSS feed, to just post it in there, have it ping Spotify, and then have Spotify say we're going live. So we don't have to do what we're doing right now, is use Restream and have 6 different live streams going across every platform. We should be able to send a notification to our subscribers and say, this is our preferred live platform, YouTube, X, whatever. Putting all that aside, it's a great idea. The app has some challenges. I happen to have used it because you have to pay in order to use all the features. So it'd be better for them to have some advertising in it and make it free or time gated, or let you have 3 podcasts. And then after you get 100 notes or something, then it upsells you to charge you. But anyway, great idea. I think you would like the idea too. Who are they up against in the bracket? Who are they now going up against?
That was Zurich. And now we are going to hear from Florianopolis, which is a city in southern Brazil. And their chosen champion is a company called MedSimple.
I am from Brazil, Florianopolis, and I will present you today MedSimple, There's Medical School Simple. It's one of my first times doing it in English. The first one was on Founders Friday, okay? And I appreciate you guys watching me today. Our purpose is to improve medical education in Brazil. Why? Because it changed our lives. Who? Me and my co-founders one. We both met on med school, admission test, and we got approved together. When we entered medical school, we faced a problem. Lack of active study in medical school. Difficulty in memorizing large amount of information, okay? And lack of specific questions that we missed from the admission tests. And we created a solution when we was on med school. A SaaS, where you choose a subject, diabetes, tuberculosis, hypertension. You choose a study mode, questions, flashcard videos, and you do have to recall these informations. And why now? Because a lot of new medical schools in Brazil, new students, and maybe you're going to have a Brazilian medical proficiency test like the USMLE from the United States. Done. In terms of world, we have more than 100 billions in global market share education. In terms of Brazil, we have 250,000 medical students with a ticket of 120 USD. We could reach a 30 million ton, but you can improve that doing another products and going up to the residency module, ton of 40 millions, okay? Other players in the market, we have strong brand, Duolingo-like approach, tricks to improvisation, a residence model, we are working on it. We are a SaaS, B2C, 120 per year. Our revenue, we are here we are in medical school, and we started very small, how you can see here. And now we are more than 500,000 in revenue per year with an MMR of 50,000, okay? The team, we both are physicians, and our dev is Gabriel Buzzi, GitHub contributions of him.
So,
all right.
I love this. First of
I
all,
love
sorry.
them both. This is a problem. It's too strong. Give me what you love about each really quick, and then which one you pick.
Okay, so Snipped, I adore because, I mean, you might have heard of this Week in Startups podcast, Jason. Big fan. So I live in the podcasting world. I love anything that lets people extract more from audio. And I love the application of AI to popular consumer formats. Okay. MedSimple, I adore for two reasons. One, I know the market very well. I've watched my spouse study for boards and different step exams through medical school and residency. So I know how much work that is. And I recall how much money we spent on stuff like books, courses, mnemonics. Like there is so much studying that goes into this work. So I know the pain is
Which one do you pick?
MedSimple because of the revenue growth. Love it.
Okay. I was going to go with the podcasting app because I think it's amazing and it's innovative.
Absolutely.
The Med app isn't super innovative. I think anybody could build it. It's built on other people's LLMs. It seems very basic. It seems very simple. But then I saw their traction. And if it's true, they got to over $500,000 in traction already. And he did that product velocity, which panders to me. I too fell in love with the medical one. But I probably would obviously use the other one. And I think one's more innovative than the other, but the other's got traction. Both of them are amazing. I would love to invite them both to the accelerator, but I think they're beyond it now in terms of revenue and money raised. I'm going to give a slight edge to
MedSimple.
So,
all right. So
you and I are in agreement on that one. So that's an easy one.
Yeah.
Next one. Let's go.
Shout out to Brazil over Zurich. All right. Next up, we are going to talk to Osprey.
This is incredible.
All right, isn't this fun? Osprey, the company from the Houston group. And then we have Trova from the Boston group. So we're going to start with Trova, which I have pulled up right here. And we are going to hear from a man who looks like he's going to sell me a pharmaceutical. Doesn't he look like... I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. All right, let's hear from him.
Quickly think back to your first job, the friends, the mentors, the experiences, all of those things that shaped you in your life and made you the success that you are today. Now think about this next generation of workers. Chances are they'll be onboarded remotely, which means that their office is actually in your house on the computer. Their mentors will probably be chatbots. Instead of going to the dining hall or catching up at the cafeteria or restaurant with friends, they'll just DoorDash. This next generation is on a path to loneliness and isolation. That's bad for their mental health and our companies. There's 1,000 statistics that back that up. That's why I'm super excited to introduce myself and my company, Trova. My name is Mike Federa, and Trova is a platform that's bringing real, authentic human connection back to the workplace. We've anchored on 3 pillars. Trust, which you get from working in the same organization. What we call who you are, or full self. That means you bring your whole self to work, your interests, your background, your skills, and then common ground. So now, if 2 employees on different teams, both like playing poker and rucking, Trova would make that connection for them automatically. So therefore, you have a chance of finding a new bestie. Last year, we did $60,000 in ARR, and we're on track to triple that this year. We're a small, scrappy 2-person team that's never raised venture funding. Work used to be the cornerstone of human connection, and with Trova, it still can be. We know what it's going to take to scale our business, and we'd love for you to be part of that journey. I can't wait to share more about what we're building and get a chance to introduce myself to you all. Thank you.
All right. That was all pitched. No website, no product, unfortunately. Yes. So I had to imagine it. We'll pull up the Trova website in a moment, but let's hear our second pitch and make a decision.
Pitch number 2.
Hi, I'm Lydia Davies, the founder and CEO of Osprey. Osprey is a community for women in sports and entertainment. Our nest houses over 100 members with a collective following of 17 million plus and 15 brand partnerships. Our members are Olympic athletes, DJs, news anchors, high-profile executives in sport and entertainment, and college athletes. It's a Venn diagram. All of the groups work together and collaborate to support each other, to network, and to sometimes create startups, which we really try and push. We offer them different opportunities via our speaker sessions with lawyers, wealth experts, and more. We're also doing an athlete in STEM program with an activation at SpaceX in a couple weeks. Last year, we had 5 sold-out large-scale events, from women in football at the Super Bowl to women in motorsports at the Indy 500. You'll find us everywhere. We do women's summits and retreats, and we have already got off to a bang for 2025 with 2 sold-out events. So what do the brands do for us? Well, we bring in these amazing brand partnerships that have the same core values as us, and they offer our members opportunities and discounts, and our members market them. Most of the brands see over 100 million plus insights at each one of our large-scale events. That's amazing. We also provide a big sister program for our college athletes, which is now heading out of our beta stage, where we give them a member from the community as a big sister mentor and will help support them along their journey. We are expanding so fast, and we grew 10x last year, projected to grow another 10x this year.
All right. What do you think?
God, you can see the difference when they show the product and they walk through a deck and they don't. It leaves, it's just so hard because I'm trying to figure out what it is. Trova, these are both touchy-feely. And Trova, I understand people want to try to make it less boring to work from home in front of a computer and create mentorship. I've talked about this countless times. I'm literally in the process of addressing this. I think we'll have 10 people in an office here in Austin very soon. I'm only hiring people in Austin going forward. And then extremely high performers can be extremely high performers remote. That's where I came to after 3 years of work from home, which is I think 10 or 20% of people can work from home. Extremely high performers, self-motivated. Everybody else needs to be in an office. That's just my personal belief. So looking at their websites, if you pull it up, we look at Trova. If I criticize a website, I think you need to show the product, not just do here's logos, etc. You have to have a very quick, not just these illustrations. I understand that's what people think is the best practice. For me, the best practice as a startup is to show the product with the founder walking through the product in a video. I think a product video and a product demo on a website explains everything. And this doesn't. So it's just hard for me to conceptualize the product without seeing it. But I get it. When we look at the top of the page, to transform your workplace with meaningful relationships that drive engagement, innovation, and results. So if this was in our accelerator, I would destroy it. I would be like, what does it even mean, right? Define your community, build your community, foster collaboration. This is all soft, hippy-dippy language, inspire your people. I hate this stuff. What you really want to do is say, Trova is a Slack plugin that increases team collaboration by helping, employees get to know each other, remote employees to get to know each other. And you just try to say one thing and then you show it. And if you showed it and it was 2 people answering a quiz, boom. So you got to show, don't tell. Show, don't tell is one of my key reasons or key insights of presenting companies. Show, don't tell. If you tell us, we have to imagine it. If you show us, now we're on to the next issue. Tell me about the business model. Tell me about the growth. Are you raising? Here, we're still in what is it? Same thing if we pull up the next community and we go to their homepage, and I'll just criticize the homepage. Elevating women in sports and entertainment, the fastest growing community for women in sports and entertainment, vetted members, 20 plus brand partnerships, 17 million followers, 30 plus, 12 Grammys. This is all peacocking and not explaining the value. So I would say here, join, an online community of 1,272 women who support each other, who support and inspire each other, learn more, right? Boom. And then I would have exactly how that happens.
Yeah.
So if we scroll down, empowering women globally. Again, that's hippy-dippy language, empowering globally. I hate these words because they're just like trigger words for not a real business. And I try to get more specific in what the value proposition is. Welcome to a collective of collaboration. This is word salad. Osprey empowers women in sports and entertainment through network, events, opportunities, leadership, resources. Again, you're doing the whole list. Too much. Make it bullet points, make it simple. Network with powerful women online in a chat room by categories, including sports, entertainment, personal development. 2, come to monthly events. So when you heard me describe Founder Fridays, I was very specific about what it is. Alex, what happens at a Founder Friday?
6 people get around a table and share their wins and struggles so that way founders can support one another. Boom.
The reason you know that is because I am a master at explaining things simply and defining them.
I also spend a lot of time listening to you, so I feel like I'm cheating. But no, you actually, I've realized you talk in bullet points, which is interesting.
I talk in bullet points when I'm trying to communicate stuff because
it's effective.
People are busy. I literally just did it. Too much word salad, not enough actually showing of the product. So both of these aren't as good as the first 2 presentations. So this is like one of those brackets where like the people who should be in the Eastern Conference Finals met each other in the first round. The first 2 companies would have beat both of these companies. But if I had to pick here, I think that the Women's Collaborative can charge $1,000 a year, $5,000 a year. There are a bunch of communities doing it. Who's the guy from My First Million?
Oh, I'll
awesome.
That for us.
He's a great founder. He had done Hustle.
Sam Parr and Sean Puri.
Yeah, so Sam Parr has a new community, and there's a couple of these going around that are $5,000 or $10,000 a year. So they put up a $5,000 or $10,000 gate, so it can only be CEOs who can expense it, or venture capitalists who can expense it, or otherwise successful people. So the dollar amount you spend is to create scarcity. Then those people interact with each other, support each other, and they get to be part of this. I was thinking about doing this. This was like my other idea for Founder Fridays, was to make it elite, to charge a fee. And I might still put a fee on it so that you're committed, right? So for Founder University, we put a $500 fee on it. And then when you finish the course, you get the $500 back if you submit your weekly updates 12 weeks in a row. You have to submit 12 updates. And can we make a note, Maddie, that in order to get the $500 back, we can change this for the next one if we communicated it differently. You have to come to the weekly on Monday and you have to submit your weekly update. Your weekly update is your attendance, and your attendance is your attendance. But that's what we're looking for anyway. So if you can't fill out 12 updates that you're getting paid $50 each for or $40 each for, then okay, you could have just filled out the form and gotten $40. So here we don't know how much they charge. Did they mention how much they charge?
Osprey is jumping in the live checks. We are doing this live, of course.
Oh,
and
great.
They say, quote, we do charge that. So I think you're probably actually...
Didn't say. How much do they charge? I mean, this would have made the presentation. This is why I'm good at what I do. Because I have seen so many pitches that I can just tell you how to make it literally 2 or 3 times better instantly, just with 2 or 3 tweaks. If you said it's a $5,000 a year program, and you get X, Y, and Z, then we wouldn't have to play this crazy game of trying to figure it out. How much is it?
We're waiting for them to respond.
Oh, okay.
But while we wait for the information, I'm going to weigh in on my selection here.
Yes, go ahead.
First of all, I think the idea of making remote work a little bit less lonely is awesome.
Yes.
I've been both in office and remote and hybrid, and let me tell you, I get the most done by myself, but I miss people's. I love the idea of having a closer knit team. Love that. I'm also an enormous believer and supporter of women in women's sports. So to me, the idea behind Osprey and just women entertainment as well is fantastic. Big fan of that. And I just don't understand the model as well, Jason. So to me, even though I like to think of myself as someone who would be a big supporter of Osprey, I'm going to go with Trova because I better understand the economics of a Slack plugin.
Okay. $3,100 a year is what Osprey charges. Therefore, I'm picking Osprey. Tie goes to the founder of the pod. So Osprey makes it to the next round. If we had Lon here, I would go with majority.
No. That's eminently reasonable. I was just curious how we were going to break the tie. And the
I
answer
just decided in that second that tie goes to the founder of the show. It goes to whoever's done the most episodes. That's me.
That's not fair.
Okay, whoever's invested in the most unicorns.
Whoever has the most children named Ada.
Okay, there you go.
Oh,
Okay.
No, that's fine.
All right, so we'll go with Osprey. I do like these expensive membership things. And then, again, if you want to like get all precious about it, oh my God, you can afford $3,100 a month. It's $10 a day to be part of this community.
Yes.
It's $10 a day. So what I would do is I would do for every 100 members, 5 scholarships based on merit that are discounted to $2 a day.
Oh, I like that. So you still have skin in the game, but it's much more affordable for everyone who wants to take part.
And it's only 10% of the membership. And we don't tell you which 10%. And you have to tell us what you're doing, how much money you're making. So if you're only making $50,000 a year running your startup and you're bootstrapped and you're not rich, we know that you're living in an apartment, you tell us your sob story. Okay. So $500,000 a year. Well, let's say you make $50,000 after taxes.
Sure.
Would you put 1% of that into being in a community, $500 or 2% of that, $1,000? If you're not willing to put 2% of your take-home pay into it, it's obviously not the right thing for you. You have no skin in it.
Right. So or no interest.
Yeah. And if you're making $150K a year as the CEO or venture capitalist or partner at a venture firm, okay, 2% of that is $3,000. So I think 4 great companies. I love the format. The punch up is do a Loom, walk through your deck where you are in front of your thing. It'll go much better for you. And then let's make the cap 75 seconds. So when we do the next one, 75 seconds. And if anybody wants to redo their pitch between now and when they're going to be on, I'm going to allow them to redo their pitch. We can send this clip to folks because you'll have a greater chances of advancing if you show those things. Let's add to this a version of this for the Twist 500. So next month, let's do one for Twist 500 where you present the company, the 3 of us discuss it. The founder doesn't have to come on, but we do it based on the highest known valuation. So we sort by valuation and we do Twist the top, how many is it? 16? The Sweet 16 of Twist 500 by last valuation.
That's going to be so spicy given OpenAI's latest, because that's going to see.
You got OpenAI, you got SpaceX, you got Anduril. Shout out to my guy Palmer Luckey. You got so many great people who will be in that, right?
Stripe's on there. And by the way, there's now more than 300 companies in the Twist 500. So everyone should take a look and see what we might be missing. We're working on our next batch of 25. So keep your ears and eyes peeled onto that.
All right, everybody, another amazing episode of This Week in Startups. A long one, but sometimes we can go to 90 minutes, 100 minutes, and you get what you pay for. It's free. Enjoy. He's Alex, x.com/Alex. I'm x.com/Jason. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we go live. What platforms are we on live on? Instagram and TikTok. Need a favor from y'all. Please go follow it, obviously. That would be great. But go ahead and go in there and like it. So how many followers do we have there on the Instagram?
We have 30.5K.
30,500. And then if you hover over these, how many views are we getting on these posts? Like if you go down and just hover over it, it should tell you how many views we're getting. I think we're probably getting low hundreds or something. 4 likes.
4 likes.
It's too light, folks. And so
26
likes, 4
24.
comments, 24 comments, 6. So we just started doing this. I really need your help. Go in and like it, but more importantly, write a comment and just say, what's up, Jake Al? What's up, Alex? All right. This has been another episode of This Week in Startups. So see you next time. Bye-bye.